Good
Oh,
road.
you got a good one. Yep, you have a good one. Alrighty. Okay, as previously discussed at the town board meeting, there was a little confusion as to what was presented to the board originally. Originally, it looked like the parcel itself was, I believe, 9.8 acres. Is that true?
Not
In the
anymore.
original, we subdivided.
Say 10, yeah, and then you subdivided the yellow house, now it's
8.4,
green.
now.
Yeah, 8.70.
Okay, so it was, contiguously, it was almost 10 acres of property. So as, in its entirety, it does sit within the district for the sidewalks. Subdividing that lower parcel, it remained residential. And the board at the time, when we talked about it, and the board can jump in anytime and correct me if I'm wrong, we collectively believe that that's residential. And until that changes, there is no sidewalks that's required for that parcel. Originally, I was told that from the southern portion of the gravel driveway entering the project area that you were going to do, that the sidewalk was going to be on the north side of that gravel driveway, to the north side of Petora Road.
The south side.
Yes, the south
South
corner.
side.
Patty cleared that up when she was here last time. So,
South side of the entrance.
and I actually was given this map just to show you what I had seen.
Okay.
So this is what I originally was told. It was gonna be on the north side of the entrance to the north side of Petora Road. So, that being said, I know that it's been back and forth with the planning board. Each one of us, I believe, and again, the board can correct me if I'm wrong, has visited the site more than once, I'm sure. But looking at that, there's a parcel that has been removed. We won't worry about that. On the north side of that property, there is quite a large area, not a large area, it is quite a drop off, but it's a wetlands up there, so it doesn't make any sense to put something through there. If you look on the other side of the railroad bed, the entrance to that lower parking area, that also on the other side, the sidewalk is stopped, and that was due to a wetlands area as well.
Okay.
So what we had looked at was kind of a compromise. The way that the law is written is
Oh,
you
and
either
I
put.
brought copies of the law,
I
just
knew
in
you would.
case.
That's funny, I didn't even make copies because I knew you'd bring them. So the law is here. So basically what it says, and you can actually read it if you'd like, Patty, you read it before? Great to it tape. So that law says basically, you can put the sidewalks in, or if the sidewalks are not required, you go to the supervisor's office, establish an account, or establish a monetary amount, and that's given to the supervisor to put into the sidewalk fund, and that would be for future development in the town. So that sidewalk fund, it does not say in that law what the actual value of that sidewalk is per linear foot, per square foot, per cubic feet. There's no definitive answer in there. So, in the past, what the board has done is they've looked at each project, and they've looked at them as a standalone project. So what we had looked at, originally you folks wanted to stop on the north side of Petora Road. What we would like to do as a board, we collectively had spoken, this line here and this lot is known as the Stoon property. So continue that the sidewalk for 88 feet approximately, so it coincides with that northern boundary line of that property. So that compromise would be that you would put that in from the southern portion to that point and not required to put it in from that point north.
Quick question.
Yes.
The state knows that, they're gonna ride machines on it,
Yeah, let me show you, yeah, he doesn't wanna go any
Yeah,
further,
it's
he's
stopping
okay,
there.
he's stopping.
Stopping
So
before.
what we were just
I
talking
gotcha.
about
Yeah.
is, see where this lawn area is here?
Yep.
The state goes in and mows that.
Understood.
So it makes actually good sense to bring it up to maybe even a little bit further than that boundary line, up maybe in line with that utility pole.
Yep. And
Because
that's
then
what we
when-
looked at.
Then when
Yeah.
they mow,
cleaner.
they'll be able to still go on that lawn without disturbing the sidewalk. But from here, you have the sidewalk and then be able to come off the roadway and walk the lawn for
So
that area.
exactly what you're saying. And my numbers aren't accurate, I'm not a surveyor. I just did it offline through the partial search. But if you look at this property and you look at it, the email that you sent me today, I ran some numbers with the information that you sent me. So where this property intersects with this property line, and that northern portion of that, it stops, there's about 270 feet approximately
Okay.
that will take you up to the wetlands.
Okay.
So you still have 270 feet of road frontage before you hit the wetlands. When you
Got
hit the
it.
wetlands,
I got it.
it's an additional 200 feet. I think it was like 465, 470.
Yeah,
It's quite a
203 and 140, so 350,
Yeah.
almost 350 feet.
So, kind of indirectly, we're not going to require you to put the sidewalk in here,
Okay, gotcha.
okay?
Okay.
This and this, if there's ever a subdivision or a change of use, or something that has to be brought back for another site plan approval,
Mhm.
it's a perfect spot for a little burger joint. It's a perfect spot for an ice cream stand. It's a perfect spot for many things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where your site plan would trigger something else for the existing portion of that property.
Okay,
If
gotcha.
you were to subdivide and sell that property, then that's up to those folks what they're going to do in the
Gotcha.
future.
Okay.
But just running some quick numbers, and again, they're not accurate numbers, but you're talking at $30 a linear foot, doing it yourself
Mhm.
to the specs. You're talking about approximately $14,280.
Mhm.
If we were to do that at $300 a foot, and keep in mind, when you're doing government, you have to pay prevailing
Yeah,
wage, you have to go out and
prevailing wage,
engineer, you
That's
have
where
to
we're
do all
going
that
from the
stuff.
30 to the,
I
up to
understand.
possibly.
$142,800.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. And that's only the first 476 feet that you were talking about. The remainder of that, at $300 a foot, would be an additional $171,600. So the amount of square footage or linear feet that we're asking you to do is going to be a difference. Basically, again, these aren't accurate numbers, they're just for reference. It's a difference of $2,880.
I'm fine with doing what you got.
So
If that's what's best for you.
I am happy you are fine with that. I think that that's a good compromise.
Yeah,
Something that, and I will poll the board, for the remainder of that property, I would like to not take money into escrow for that and handle that as a standalone project when it comes before us next time.
okay.
I think that's fair to everybody, and I think that's fair to you, and I think that's a good compromise. And Mr. Fazio?
The only question I have, if you don't take any money from them for escrow, down the road with other people, are we setting a precedence where they're gonna be like, well, you didn't do it for that, what happens to us?
Understood.
What is it, what is the
Understood.
subdivision? If they subdivide that. and
If
sell it,
there's ever a change of use, it would have to be
use,
done.
at that point, that's when they have to do it. Right now, they're just gonna leave it vacant.
Yes, but, okay,
No,
You follow
point
what
well
I'm saying?
taken.
I'm just saying, down the road,
Oh, yeah.
because we have to start looking ahead, we keep looking behind,
Yeah, you're
we're
right.
gonna be in more trouble.
Understood.
Yeah,
Okay, so what would your
I mean, cause
opinion be?
it dips off, I would like to see a little something in the account, cause where you're showing them the line, that's kind of where it dipped off when we looked at
That's where
it,
it
just,
starts.
just beyond there, yeah.
Yeah, and then down further, it dips off quite a
Yes.
bit, down where it is actually designated as wetlands.
Right, because the
Yeah,
other
we
thing.
need steps to get to the sidewalk.
Yeah, the other thing that it does provide for in here is that the planning board shall have the authority to allow for phased construction of the pedestrian walkway. So if we said for phase one of this particular building, that's where the sidewalk is going to end. And, as the supervisor said, when future development, if future development happens, at that point in time, we would need to revisit it. It's
Right.
not that it's being waived forever.
Yeah.
It's being phased for this particular construction project is how I think perhaps it could be phrased in whatever resolution the board makes so that it's clear you're not giving them a free ride forever,
Right.
but you're phasing
Doing it
it
in
for
phase-
this
phase one.
particular.
So that's up to the planning board then to have that written down, taking care of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would hurt to have, because again, the town board is the one who
signs off.
signs off
Yeah.
on it.
So that being said, I do find value in what you're saying, and I totally understand that. And when we're talking about a sidewalk account, the account was established so that we can gain funds in there in the hopes to eventually take those funds and match them for any kind of government, federal, whatever, to expand our sidewalk district or our sidewalks in the future. So there is a number of residential lots that are along the way that there's no provisions to do that, so it would be by the taxpayer's expense, one way or another, either through local or a larger grant, still taxpayer money. So I do find value in what you're saying, and I do agree with you. Under the circumstances, again, I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, are you going to do, it's not up to us to say, are you going to subdivide it, are you going to do this? changes, life changes, but,
But it would be safe
What
to say
value?
that it's the first phase.
yeah, and that being said, you know, myself, I'm still comfortable with that, and it makes good sense, and it does make good sense what you're saying as well, it really does. You know, the more funds that we do have in that account gives us a better opportunity to get those matching funds in the future. We have sidewalk problems, we have sidewalk issues that we have to address, so, understood. Any questions or anything that you'd like to ask?
Do you have a question?
No,
All
As
right?
long as it's worth
Yeah.
saying, do you agree with that? Okay, because it's not waiving them forever. So I know that's your, again, I hear you about setting precedents for we want it, because
Okay, music and CO.
I'm fine with it, doing it in phases, I have no problem with that.
Okay, any questions you'd like to ask?
When you gonna get it done?
I'm ready, I've been waiting 2 years.
Yeah,
I know, no, but, no, I'm very comfortable with it.
okay.
It's gonna be a beautiful building.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
really
plan to landscape it.
Everything you do is beautiful.
Probably put some Christmas lights there too.
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, go on the radio, 'cause that, my grandniece wants, I gotta go see the house.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you're good.
32.
Councilman O'Flair.
No, I think
Any
it's gonna look
questions,
really
comments?
good, no. My only question was with the escrow account, how do you value what you're gonna have to fund into it?
That is another,
You know what I mean?
another,
Because it
how
could
would
actually,
I
just
say,
the
that
cost of the
is something that we
sidewalk.
have to address, because
Right.
if you look at that, and like the reality is, if you look at that and somebody puts it in escrow, the way that the law reads is that it goes to the supervisor's office and puts the money in. So if you look at it as a flat law, so to speak, with our E-codes, it looks like, you know, if you're gonna put in that entire sidewalk and it's going to be $317,000, then the projection would be done by an engineer. What does that $317,000 look like 10 years from now and 20 years from now?
Right.
And there's going to be a value. And it can be done through bond, or it can be done through cash, and basically, the way the law is written, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically a monetary amount that goes into that fund. So, it really, that's a law I feel has to be revisited and updated, and actually finished, if you will. But it is the law that we have, it's a law that we've utilized for many years, and this is where we are at this point. And it's kind of like chasing our tail, so it is something we really should address in the future.
I mean, it just makes more sense for him to pay out of pocket,
Yeah,
to just put it in versus guess.
absolutely.
It would never be,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think until the law is changed, revised, completed,
Yeah, we have to
this
follow-
this kind of makes the most sense, right? I mean,
Yes,
there's
yeah, you have
not
to
too
come
many
up with this
options.
have to.
So,
Otherwise-
I will, if you would just bear with me, you have that section lot and block number for that parcel, so we know what that is going to be. And I will make a motion that we require the sidewalk to go up to that point in conjunction with the northern portion of that property, known as the Stone property.
Yeah, and we can even, say, 20 feet short of utility pole 144873, and then there's a physical feature in the field, because I don't know that boundary line, that's an approximate tax map line across
Yes,
the street.
yes.
And then we have a physical feature that we could all know exactly on the
Yep.
ground where it's gonna be,
Understood.
if that's acceptable to the board.
So I'll make a motion that we move forward, and we do not require the escrow for the remaining portion of that.
I'll second
Until there is
that.
a actual change in the future. So, got a motion on the floor, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.